The shift was obvious, but seeing my name wiped away felt like being erased. My name's Eric Donnelly. I'm 47 years old, live in Raleigh, North Carolina, and until about 10 minutes after that coffee run, I thought I still mattered around here. I passed the break room and caught something on the monitor behind Jordan's desk, our company website, the team page specifically. Except, where there used to be a photo of me, Director of Strategic Operations, there was a blank space. No picture, no name, nothing. Like I'd never existed. Jordan didn't look up, neither did Brianna, not even a nod as I passed by. It was like someone had sent out a memo overnight. Pretend Eric doesn't exist. I stood there for a beat too long, waiting for someone to laugh, make a joke, say, "Hey, it's updating the site," or something. Nothing came. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. When I got to my desk, I knew. My monitors were still there, but the layout was different. My nameplate, gone. A new one sat across from me, shiny and fresh. Olivia Armabile, Strategic Innovation Officer. She hadn't even been here 6 months. Walked in like a mini tornado in expensive heels, all ideas and no clue. But her last name, that mattered. Her uncle was Gerard Armobile, the CEO. The kind of guy who said things like synergy and agility with a straight face. Nepotism wasn't a crack in the wall around here, it was the foundation. I sat down slowly, booted up my workstation, and tried to keep my face neutral. Inside, I was flipping tables. Nobody had told me anything. No email, no meeting, not even a damn sticky note. Just rearranged furniture and a new hire planted across from me, like a flag on territory I'd already built. 15 years. I'd survived 3 recessions, 2 rebrands, and 1 merger. I had dragged this company through the mud while the C-suite was on golf trips. But I could feel it now. Something had shifted, quiet, calculated. I looked up and caught Olivia watching me with that smug little half smile she wore like perfume. She tapped a few keys on her tablet and said nothing. I didn't say anything either, but I knew what this was, and I wasn't about to let them erase me without a fight. I didn't even get to finish my coffee before the next slap came. Quarterly review. I walked into the conference room like I had for the last 15 years. Legal pad in hand, notes prepped, numbers double-checked. The usual crew was scattered around the table, talking shop, sipping espresso, half listening to each other. Normal. Until I looked up. Olivia was sitting in my chair, head of the table, legs crossed, iPad in her lap, hair tied back like she'd just come from a goddamn tech summit. She didn't glance up until I stopped dead near the doorway. "Didn't get the memo?" she said, voice light, eyes locked on mine. "We're going in a fresher direction, more digital, more agile." Her tone had that fake sweet flavor people use right before they gut you in front of an audience. A few heads turned, but nobody said a word. No surprise. These people had mortgages, car notes, college tuition. No one wanted to be next on the chopping block. I took the nearest open seat, didn't even look at her again, just nodded like I'd missed something minor. My coffee tasted like nothing now. She started talking, fast, breathy, like a podcast that thinks speed equals intelligence. Slide after slide flashed on the big screen. She pitched some half-baked plan to reposition our brand identity across digital platforms through targeted influencer alliances and AI-driven analytics. It didn't even make sense. Buzzwords stacked on buzzwords. No real numbers, no timeline, no risk assessment. But Gerard, her uncle, our genius CEO, sat there nodding like it was gospel. I watched him actually mouth very forward-thinking under his breath. Meanwhile, my strategy, the one I developed 2 years ago, refined, tested, backed with actual projections, was sitting in the meeting packet untouched. I spotted it in front of Brianna, still stapled, not even opened. I stayed quiet. I didn't ask why she was presenting. I didn't bring up the fact that I'd prepped a full roadmap for this review and submitted it on time, like always. Then I caught it. One of her slides, the layout, the phrasing, the metrics, it was mine. From a 2-year-old presentation I gave to the board during a financial downturn. She'd taken my framework, my exact words in some spots, slapped on a new color palette, and called it innovation. Not one person blinked. I felt the chair under me stiffen. Or maybe it was just my spine locking up. I didn't say a damn thing, just sat there, face blank, watching my own work get repackaged and sold back to me like I was some intern who'd wandered in off the street. 2 days after that meeting, I lost my quarterly risk report. No heads up, no explanation. Just a calendar update that the deliverable had been reassigned to Olivia's Innovation Unit, the same report I'd built from scratch back when the company was barely breaking even. Gone. I walked past her Teams area and saw the printout on someone's desk. Same template, same metrics, just stripped of my name and branded with the new logo she loves so much. Bold, bright, better. Please. Then came the office shuffle. First move, they told me it was temporary. Just a quick reshuffle during renovations. Fine. I packed up, moved down the hall into a smaller room near payroll. A week later, I came back from lunch and found movers boxing my stuff again. Second move, a cubicle. No windows, no lock, no privacy. Just enough room for my chair to scoot back without slamming into the wall. I didn't complain. Not because I was afraid. Hell no. I just knew complaining was part of the setup. They wanted me to react, flip a desk, slam a door, make it easy for HR to label me difficult and push me out. So I smiled, nodded, took my box of personal items and set up in the corner like it was nothing. But inside, yeah, I felt it. The slow, deliberate chipping away. 100 little cuts. Then came the merger meeting. It popped up on the calendar like a reminder of everything I used to be. I'd run those meetings, manage the pitch deck, smooth the investor nerves, all of it. And this time, the invite didn't include me. No agenda, no request for materials, just a title. Leadership Alignment Strategy Session. That was the final slap. Still, I didn't say a word. Just sat there in my little cubicle, hands folded on the desk, staring at the hallway outside the glass. Watching Olivia breeze by in another blazer she didn't pay for. That afternoon, Gerard found me. He didn't sit, didn't close the door, just leaned in the cubicle like a nosy neighbor. "Eric," he said, smiling that fake friendly CEO smile, "I know you're seeing some changes around here. Don't take it the wrong way. We're just moving toward a more dynamic, agile structure. You know how the industry is shifting." "Sure," I said flatly. "Agile." "Right," he said, tapping the divider once like we'd just wrapped up a strategy session. "We still value your experience, of course." He left before I could respond. I didn't watch him go. They wanted me boxed out quietly, no scene, no paperwork trail. But I've played this game longer than they've been practicing their buzzwords. I'm not going to disappear just because they stop saying my name. 2 days later, they called a partner meeting. Critical review of strategic forecasting tools. I already knew what it was. I showed up early, sat near the end of the long, polished table, close enough to hear everything, far enough to be ignored. Olivia strolled in late, of course, with her iPad in one hand and a cold-pressed juice in the other. She gave Gerard a wink before dropping into the seat at the head. "Thanks for coming," she said, all cheery and fake humble. "Today I'm going to walk you through a risk model I developed based on some unique insights I've been gathering over the past quarter." Unique insights, my ass. She tapped the screen and brought up the first slide. I knew the model before it even hit the wall. The structure, the indicators, even the damn font. I'd stayed up for nights refining that thing back in 2021, building it from scratch during the market downturn. She hadn't touched a single formula. She just cleaned it up, slapped on a gradient, and started spouting lines I'd written in a white paper she probably didn't finish reading. One partner leaned forward, squinting at the projection. "Now this is sharp," he said, nodding slow, like he'd just discovered fire. Another murmured, "Brilliant." Funny, 2 years ago, those same guys had called me the firm's quiet shield. Now they didn't even glance in my direction. I sat still, no flinch, no eye roll, just watched her parade around like she was Marie Curie with an Excel sheet. Gerard grinned the whole time. "This is exactly the kind of forward thinking we need leading our analytics wing," he said as soon as she finished. No one objected. No one asked where the data came from. It was like I didn't exist. After the meeting, she walked out with the partners, laughing like she'd just closed $1 billion deal. She never even looked at me. I headed back to my cubicle, still no nameplate, still no listing on the company site. Just the familiar hum of the air vent and a half-dead ficus I hadn't watered in a week. I opened a notebook and started making a list. Dates, presentations, emails, every detail tied to the original model, every timestamp I could pull from my files. Watching her steal what I built was a gut punch, But I wasn't angry anymore. I was focused. Because this wasn't just disrespect. This was leverage. That night, while the office lights dimmed and the building emptied, Gerard sent a company-wide announcement. Olivia was officially promoted to Chief Strategic Innovations Officer. No mention of the last guy who built the engine she was now driving, but that's fine. Let them hand her the keys. I knew where the trapdoor was. The next morning, HR called. No subject line, just meeting urgent. I knew what was coming before I even stepped into that beige conference room. 2 reps sat across from me, Janet, the HR director, and some guy I'd never met, probably from legal. They had that practice sympathy look, the one that says, "We rehearsed this." "Eric," Janet started, smiling too wide, "thank you for coming in. As you know, the company's been undergoing a strategic realignment to better position us for the future." I leaned back in the chair. "Meaning what, exactly?" She folded her hands. "Meaning your current role doesn't align with our new organizational structure. We'd like to offer you a severance package, 3 months' salary plus benefits continuation." 3 months, after 15 years. I didn't move, just let the silence hang until it got uncomfortable. "What about the merger?" I asked finally. "You're in the middle of integrating 2 portfolios I've managed for a decade." The legal guy jumped in. "That's being handled by the Strategic Innovation Office now." Of course it was, Olivia's office. Then the kicker hit me, acting managing partner. I'd been appointed that title last year when Gerard was under investigation for insider trading. I'd signed the filings myself. It wasn't temporary, at least not officially. So, why wasn't it in my paperwork now? I looked at Janet. "I don't see that title reflected anywhere in this realignment memo." "Oversight?" She shifted in her chair. "We did a full review of leadership positions during the transition. Your interim status was folded into the new framework." "Folded into," I repeated. "That a legal term?" Her smile tightened. "It's standard streamlining, Eric. We're simplifying titles." "Bullshit." I didn't argue. I just nodded once. "Fine. Before I sign anything, I want my personnel file. All of it." The lawyer hesitated. "For what reason?" "Reference," I said. "You can email it." They exchanged a glance but agreed. I stood up, shook neither of their hands, and walked out. Back home, I poured a drink, turned on my desk lamp, and pulled the file from my inbox. It was thicker than I expected. Years of evaluations, contracts, promotion letters. I scrolled through the PDFs, cross-referencing dates and signatures. Then I found it. The SEC filing from last year's merger authorization. My name. Acting managing partner. Signed by the board, stamped, logged, no subsequent amendment. Which meant one thing. No one had ever officially revoked it. They could realign, restructure, or streamline all they wanted. But legally, on paper, I still held the authority they thought they'd erased. I leaned back, smiling for the first time in weeks. They thought they could toss me out quietly, but they forgot who signed the documents. I didn't call Marla right away. I waited until after lunch, let it sit. Then I picked up the phone and kept it casual. Marla Stanton worked at the state securities office, and we'd crossed paths for years during audits and filings. Smart, sharp, zero tolerance for corporate bullshit. "Hey," I said, leaning back in my chair. "Got a weird question for you." She laughed. "You always do." "Let's say," I started, keeping my voice light. "Someone was still technically listed as an officer in SEC merger filings, but internally, the company's pretending they're not." She didn't miss a beat. "Is that officer position tied to any decision-making power?" "Acting managing partner." Silence, then a low whistle. "That could be a mess," she said. "They file a merger under false governance, that's securities fraud. Title like that holds weight. Even if they tried to streamline it internally, if they never amended the filing," she said, "then legally they're stuck with you, at least until it's corrected, publicly and formally." I paused. "Appreciate the info. Just a hypothetical." "Sure it is," she said, dry as hell. "If this goes sideways, call me first." I hung up, heart steady. I wasn't angry. I wasn't shaking. I was focused. I opened a blank doc and drafted the letter. Short, direct, nothing dramatic. "To whom it may concern. In light of recent internal communication and changes to my role, I'd like to clarify that, as of the latest SEC filings dated April 14th, I remain listed as acting managing partner. This designation has not been amended or rescinded in any formal capacity. Please see attached documentation. I attached 3 files: the official SEC filing from last year, a scanned copy of my appointment letter, a timeline of internal communications. I sent it to the firm's in-house legal team and CC'd Gerard's office. No emotion, just facts. 5 minutes later, I got a red receipt. No reply. 10 minutes after that, my phone buzzed. Marla. "Tell me you didn't just drop that on them cold," she said. "Attached everything. I'm not making a fuss." She snorted. "Eric, that's not a fuss. That's a powder keg with a lit fuse. I'm just reminding them who's still holding the match." She was quiet for a second. "You realize they can't move forward with the merger until this is resolved, right?" "Yep." I hung up. Then I sat there, staring at my inbox, watching it stay quiet. They thought they'd buried me under buzzwords and HR spin. But I had the one thing they couldn't delete: legal standing. And I'd just made my first move. The silence didn't last long. By the next morning, whispers were already bouncing around the building. Legal had seen the letter. Compliance flagged the filings. Someone forwarded the whole email chain to the board, and it lit up fast. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. I just watched the dominoes fall. Olivia, completely unaware, doubled down. She launched her newest vision that afternoon. Some nonsense about turning the firm into a digital-first, socially engaged capital platform. There was even a hashtag. She had a video team following her around like she was running for office. One of the clips hit LinkedIn before lunch. Olivia standing in front of a whiteboard talking about redefining client relationships through narrative content, whatever that means. Problem was, clients actually watched that garbage. By the end of the week, one of our largest investors, a guy named Charles Donovan, old money, sharp, doesn't tolerate fools, pulled out of 2 major funds. I heard his exact words through a chain of panicked phone calls. "This firm has a leadership integrity problem." And that was it. Suddenly, nobody wanted to take Olivia's calls. The partners couldn't close a single deal. Half the office froze, unsure who even had signing authority anymore. The new direction, dead in the water. Then it got worse. One morning, I checked the firm's website. Olivia's profile was gone. So was every article with her name on it. All her social content, wiped. Internal systems had her locked out by noon. By Friday, she wasn't on any calendar invites. Her badge access, disabled. Gerard tried to spin it, of course. He sent out an internal memo claiming it was a temporary adjustment while they reassessed strategic leadership deployment. Corporate speak for "we screwed up" and hope nobody asks questions. But people were asking, loudly. And then the SEC stepped in. They issued a formal notice. All firm operations are to be suspended pending leadership clarification and resolution of governance discrepancies tied to merger filings. Translation? They froze everything. No trades, no deals, no client movement. Phones ringing off the hook, and nobody could legally do a thing about it. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't call anyone out. I just made sure the truth got to the right desks. And now the whole firm was stuck in neutral because someone forgot to read the fine print before trying to erase me. When the SEC freeze hit, I didn't celebrate. I didn't need to. I just kept my head down and waited. A week later, the call came from a number I didn't recognize. "Eric Donnelly," a woman's voice asked. "This is Karen Holt from Whitestone Partners. I think we should talk." Whitestone was one of our biggest competitors. Sharp, lean, privately held. No family ties or buzzword junkies running the place. I met their partners the next morning at a hotel downtown. They already knew everything. The filings, the freeze, the quiet implosion that followed. Karen smiled across the table. "We've been watching this whole thing unfold. You handled it gracefully." I almost laughed. That's one word for it. She slid a folder toward me. Inside was an offer. Consulting contract, 6 months minimum. The number on the last page made me blink. Double what I'd been making, maybe more with bonuses. "We need someone who actually understands operations," she said. "Someone who can build systems that last." I didn't even pretend to think about it. "I'm in." She nodded once, confident, like she already knew the answer. By Monday, I was sitting in my new office. Clean glass, no politics, no ghosts. The desk was empty except for a fresh laptop, a notepad, and a cup of real coffee that didn't taste like burnt compliance meetings. The air was quiet in the best way. No whispered alliances, no backroom strategizing. Just work that mattered. I leaned back in my chair, looked out at the skyline, and felt something I hadn't in months. Control. Then my phone buzzed. Block number. I already knew who it was. Olivia. The message popped up. A screenshot of that old taking the throne selfie she'd posted the day she got promoted. The caption still visible. New era. New energy. I stared at it for a second, then typed my reply. Careful. Some thrones are booby-trapped. I hit send and put the phone face down. That was it. No victory lap. No parting shot. Let her stew in whatever version of the story she needed to believe. Me? I was done. The firm's chaos was behind me, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't want revenge. I just wanted to keep walking and never look back.